holding tight, can you see it? Streaming the truth live from where they decree it. Sylvia speaks, no filter, no buffer. Courtroom drama couldn't get any tougher.
When the gavel's first bang, to the witness stands tears. Sylvia's lens captures all your hopes and fears. Uploading justice one trial at a time. Tune in every moment, edges sublime.
Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show. Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show. Faces turn stories, the courtroom can't hide. Sylvia's insights cut through the divide. From jury talks to the lawyer's secret. In Sylvia's world, you know you'll need it. Behind the scenes where whispers are loud, her lens reveals the truth in the crowd. Courtroom secrets laid bare to see. Stay curious, make Sylvia spring. Every objection, every sharp retort, Sylvia's there to give you the report. Exclusive footage no one else can snag. From catchy headlines straight to the tag. Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show. Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show.
Faces tell.
Hey everybody, good afternoon. Hello everyone. We're going to the press conference that they're holding in Douglas County regarding Malachi Mitchell, who was on a live about 6 months ago, and they're having a press conference right now. Let me just go ahead and start it off for you. It hasn't started yet. Sorry. I wonder if that's what's the name doing that case? I'm going to give you guys a little bit background of this case. I was hoping I can give it before they start the press conference, but I probably have to give it to you guys after the press conference because it's about to start. Press conference is about to start. Oh, Cardi's thing has been going on too. I forgot. Okay, we're going to listen to Cardi's thing for a minute. Why?
Ms. Almanzar was acting in self-defense. To succeed, Ms. Almanzar must prove both of the following by a preponderance of evidence: that Ms. Almanzar reasonably believed that Ms. Ellis was going to harm her, and that Ms. Almanzar used only the amount of force that was reasonably necessary to protect herself. Ms. Almanzar claims that Ms. Ellis's own negligence caused or contributed to Ms. Ellis's claimed harm. To succeed on this claim, Ms. Almanzar must prove both of the following: that Ms. Ellis was negligent, and that Ms. Ellis's negligence was a substantial factor in causing Ms. Ellis's harm. If Ms. Almanzar proves the above, Ms. Ellis's damages are reduced by your determination of the percentage of Ms. Ellis's responsibility. I will calculate the actual reduction. Ms. Ellis may only establish her claim for negligence if she proves that Ms. Almanzar engaged in negligent conduct that caused Ms. Ellis to suffer physical injuries. If Ms. Ellis can prove that Ms. Almanzar caused her to suffer only emotional injuries, and this is under the negligence cause of action, Ms. Ellis cannot establish her claim for negligence. Emotional distress includes suffering, anguish, fright, horror, nervousness, grief, anxiety, worry, shock, cause harmful or offensive contact? Did Ms. Ellis reasonably believe that she was about to be touched in a harmful or an offensive manner? Ms. Ellis did not consent to the conduct. That Ms. Ellis was harmed, and that Ms. Almanzar's conduct was a substantial factor in causing Ms. Ellis's harm. A touching is offensive if it offends a reasonable sense of personal dignity. Words alone do not amount to an assault. Outrageous conduct is so extreme that it goes beyond all possible bounds of decency. Conduct is outrageous if a reasonable person would regard the conduct as intolerable in a civilized society. Outrageous conduct does not include insults, threats, indignities, annoyances, hurt feelings, petty oppressions, bad manners, or other trivialities that a reasonable person is expected to endure. Outrageous conduct also does not extend to profanity, obscenity, or abusive language without circumstances of aggravation. In deciding whether defendant's conduct was outrageous, you may consider, among other factors, the following: whether defendant abused a position of authority or a relationship that gave her real or apparent power to affect plaintiff's interests, whether defendant knew that plaintiff was particularly vulnerable to emotional distress, and whether Ms. Almanzar knew that her conduct would likely result in harm due to mental distress. Under factor A, which is the position of authority, examples of positions of authority or relationships of power include an employer to his employee, an insurer to its insured, a landlord to its corporate.
Okay, sorry.
My name is Dahlia Racine, D-A-L-I-A-R-A-C-I-N-E, and I have the pleasure of serving as a district attorney here in Douglas County. Today, I will be addressing two separate and unrelated matters. The first case update will be in regard to the incident with Malachi Mitchell. On January 25th of 2025, a vehicle was stopped in Douglas County near the Lithia Springs Home Depot by Douglas County Sheriff's Department. When the deputies went to approach this vehicle, the driver started yelling. They tried to set me up. I defended my life. He tried to kill me. They observed a deceased individual in the passenger seat with multiple gunshot wounds to the back of his head. He was later identified as Malachi Mitchell. The driver informed law enforcement that there were two guns in the vehicle. Deputies observed these two pistols, one an AR-style pistol and the second a tan Glock 9mm. The AR-style pistol had the gun separated from the magazine, and the second firearm, a tan Glock 9mm, was next to where the driver's right leg would have been. Through their investigation, law enforcement learned that Mitchell and the driver, who were acquainted through school years ago, had coordinated a time to meet up and for the driver to meet Mitchell to purchase the weapon in the amount of $800 cash. According to the driver, the gun deal took place in the driver's vehicle. He stated that Mitchell tried to change the location of that sale multiple times, and the driver began to feel uneasy about the deal, but decided to still meet up with Mitchell at the new location, which was in close proximity to where Mitchell's home was located. The driver stated Mitchell attempted to get him to exit his vehicle to complete the gun sale, and the driver insisted that they do the deal in his vehicle since he wasn't familiar with the area. Mitchell removed the magazine from the gun and provided the rest of the weapon to the driver. At that point, the driver produced the $800 cash to Mitchell. The driver then requested the magazine based on the sale being complete, and Mitchell insisted on putting the gun, quote, back together. The driver stated that he was very familiar with how to assemble the weapon and said he would do it himself. At that point, the driver stated Mitchell started to exhibit strange behavior and that the driver told him to calm down. Soon thereafter, Mitchell lunged at the driver, trying to grab the gun that was just sold and that he had in his possession by climbing over the console and into the driver's seat area. A struggle ensued between the two parties, and Mitchell was attempting to load the magazine back into the gun during that struggle. The driver, who was familiar with the operation of weapons, fought Mitchell to release the magazine. and he racked the weapon, which caused a round in the chamber to be ejected. Mitchell continued to lean over the driver's area and was still grabbing at the gun that was being sold. According to the driver, Mitchell then reached back to his waistband and told the driver, "I got something for you." The driver thought that Mitchell was armed with another weapon, and the driver, who was armed with his own separate gun, the 9mm that was located in the vehicle. Fearing for his life during this attempted robbery, the driver shot Mitchell as he leaned over him with the driver's own pistol. The driver, familiar with the fact that Mitchell and his associates bragged about guns and violence on social media, thought that those individuals may be in the area since Mitchell tried to set him up during the sale and he was located close to Mitchell's home. Fearing for his life in retaliation from Mitchell's associates, the driver fled from the residence with Mitchell still in the vehicle. He started driving around trying to figure out what to do. He called multiple family members and friends who corroborated that the driver was panicked and fearful as they spoke to him. The driver stated that he continued to drive because he was scared to call the police, as he was a young black male covered in blood with a dead body in his car. And he was afraid that he may be killed upon being stopped. He did not want to drive to any family or friends' home because he was afraid that Mitchell's associates may be following him, and he didn't want to put his loved ones in danger. While on the phone with a family member, the driver committed a traffic infraction and was pulled over by the Douglas County Sheriff's Department. Law enforcement notated that the driver was fearful when they stopped him and extremely cautious when providing instruction, and the driver even explained to law enforcement that he was not going to move his hands from being up in the air in order to put the car in park, and requested that law enforcement be the ones to do it out of fear for being injured. The Sheriff's Department carefully dealt with the driver during this initial interaction and were able to remove the driver safely from the car and take him into custody and over to the Sheriff's Department to be interviewed. The driver and his family were cooperative with law enforcement, many providing corroborative statements and information that matched the physical evidence collected as part of this investigation. The evidence in the vehicle, including the description of the state of the weapons, the ejected bullet, and the location of physical evidence, corroborated the version of facts as told by the driver. Social media evidence and other information that was learned through this investigation has shown that Mitchell claimed to be a member of a gang, along with several other witnesses in this matter. The images on social media depicted groups with guns and statements of violence. In addition, several of Mitchell's associates posted threats to the driver and his family after this incident occurred. In order to understand the incident from this day, from Malachi Mitchell's death, law enforcement attempted to interview his mother, other family members, and Mitchell's associates with links to the January 25th events to gain a full understanding of what happened. All attempts to gain additional information from Mitchell's side of the facts were unsuccessful, as witnesses were uncooperative and or unwilling to provide additional information. As is our duty in every case that comes before our office, we did a thorough review of all the information presented and attempted to obtain additional information as needed. Our office was able to speak to a family member of the deceased who stated they believed Mitchell had no intention of actually selling the gun to the driver, and that he was setting the driver up to rob him of his money and other belongings based on conversations that they had with Mitchell just the week before. So based on all of the facts, evidence, interviews, and totality of circumstances, we will not be pressing charges against the driver, as the evidence in this case supports that he acted in self-defense on January 25th, 2025. Malachi's Mitchell mother and the driver were informed of our decision this morning. We always desire to be fully transparent with the family of the deceased when we are investigating a matter. It becomes a peculiar situation when we believe that those family members may be aiding and hiding or blocking our attempts to fully understand the full situation of what took place during that incident. However, we know that grief shows up in many forms, and we will accept that grief in any way that it arrives at our office. We conducted a thorough examination along with our law enforcement partners to explore every lead to get to what happened that day, because that is what the deceased deserves. And unfortunately, there were roadblocks despite numerous attempts to speak with persons of interest that may have aided or abetted in this incident. And based on the totality of the investigation we were left with, we can't meet the burden of proof to bring formal charges against the driver, so we will not. And the evidence demonstrates that the driver was acting in self-defense as he is lawfully allowed to do. Now, I want to be clear, to arrange a private gun sale late at night between parties that do not know each other that well is unwise, but it is not unlawful. We unfortunately have had to have these decisions with far too many grieving mothers who have lost their children, where we are unable to move forward with charges. And even when we are unable to move forward with charges, we continue to offer services and resources that can be helpful during their unimaginable time of pain. And this was offered in this case. We remain open and available to any and all evidence that could shed any additional information on the events of that day. This is a tragedy all around. One young person lost their life, and another has to live with the fact that they had to take a life. Our determination as to whether charges should be brought has been fully vetted and reviewed, and again, we are unable to press charges against the driver at this time. These decisions are never made lightly, but it is our duty to follow the evidence as we did in this case. I will take a couple of questions about this case before we transition to the next one.
What was Malachi's mother's state of mind?
Ms. Mitchell was obviously not happy with our decision about this, which is completely understandable. But we reiterated the fact that we are still here to support her and connect her with any services that she may need during this time.
You mentioned that several factions on that Malachi side who were unsuccessful in the same. That includes mother.
We were able to speak with her, but we were not able to obtain additional information that could be helpful to the investigation.
I want to go back to the young men's gang activity here was at play. Do you think that this was the driver who knew that Mitchell was involved with the gang? Because I think we heard about that sales night.
Gun sale late at night.
What we understand from the driver's perspective is that what he described is the Mitchell having shady associates. He did not specifically articulate he knew that he was gang involved, but he did state that he was aware of these social media posts in which Mitchell would be posting along with other associates with weapons and things along those lines.
Madam DA, there
Yeah, that's a great question. The work that we do along with our law enforcement partners, we don't have the luxury, if you will, of weighing in emotions. We are facts driven, we are evidence driven, and we have to make really hard decisions at times, and we have to follow those facts and weigh it against what the law allows us to do. And that's exactly what we did in this case. We don't want that to mitigate, nor, as we explained to Ms. Mitchell, this does not put any value on the life that Malachi Mitchell lived, nor does it weigh against the grief that we know that she feels, but our job is to follow the facts and the evidence. Yes, we will just say that the driver had relieved to understand what the findings were in this matter. At this point, we are considering the case closed. We'll formally close it probably sometime this week. But as is with any murder case, if there is additional information, we are able to reopen that. And that includes any evidence that may exist on any parties that aided or abetted in the attempted armed robbery of the driver.
That'll be a more question. You mentioned that the family said that there was no Malachi intended sell the weapon.
We have not received that information from the family or any of the facts gathered in this case. All right. With that, we will go ahead and transition. If we could take a moment to transition to the next matter.
Now here's another case, the case I'm looking for. This is the case. Malachi's mother was trying to get. Hold on.
Good afternoon again. At this time, we would like to focus our attention to the Bobby Lee Hart matter. Bobby Lee Hart was arrested last month and charged in connection with 3 separate rapes that occurred in Douglas County in 2012, 2022, and 2024. It is important to note, Hart has not been convicted of crimes at this point, and it is also important to note that I cannot talk about the evidence beyond the limited information I will provide in this moment. The purpose of this press conference is to inform the public that Hart has been arrested and to urge those who may have information or experience with Hart to contact our office or law enforcement. I would also like to applaud the work of our law enforcement partners, both the Douglas County Sheriff's Department and the Douglasville Police Department and other agencies that have brought this case to fruition. Since Hart's arrest, further testing and investigation have revealed that Hart is a suspect in multiple sexual assaults dating back to the early 1990s in the West Georgia.
Ooh.
We are informing the public of this matter to request anyone with additional information or who has been victimized by Hart to please come forward. Some of these developments came from CODIS hits, which means DNA evidence from older sexual assault cases that have matched to the suspect's DNA. To briefly explain, CODIS is the Combined DNA Index System, which is a national database that allows law enforcement to compare DNA profiles collected from crime scenes against known offenders or other cases. When we say we received a, quote, hit, that means DNA evidence from a crime scene has matched DNA linked to an individual or another case, helping investigators make connections that might otherwise have been missed. Because these crimes span more than 3 decades, we are sharing a variety of photographs of Hart from different time periods so that people, if they did know him, may recognize him as he appeared at different points in time. Hart has also gone by multiple aliases over the year, including Maurice, Robert, Kevin, Champ, Meat, and King. If there are additional survivors who have come forward in the past and were turned away for various reasons, or who have not come forward yet, we want to send a clear message to those individuals. You are not alone. We are here to listen to you. Coming forward takes tremendous courage, but we have resources and advocates ready to support you. Our office has investigators, prosecutors, and advocates all specially trained to handle sexual assault cases and are here to speak with you. If you believe you may have been a victim of Bobby Hart, or if you have information related to his crimes, please contact our office at 770-920-7292 or email us at da@douglascountyga.gov. Or you can contact any of our local law enforcement agencies to share any information that you may have. Thank you for your time today, and thank you to our community and law enforcement partners for standing with us as we continue to seek justice on behalf of these victims. Are Are there any questions on this matter? Again, with the caveat, there's very limited information that we could share at this time since it is an open investigation. That is correct. There are 4 that have been charged. We are finalizing that service of that one. We don't know what that date will be. We do plan to indict this case within the 90-day time frame that is legally mandated. We cannot comment on any additional information at this time.
So what was the problem that these victims have been out there for so long? The fact that you didn't have DNA or didn't have the evidence of late them?
I would love to provide additional information on that, but at this time we are unable to give those specifics at this point in time.
Can you talk about the difficulty in prosecuting these cases? Because a lot of victims don't always come forward or want to come forward, especially if you're talking about cases.
Yeah, great question. What we, unfortunately, those of us who specialize in sexual assault crimes prior to becoming the elected, that was an area that I had the honor to work within, and we have an amazing team that's standing behind me who does this work day in and day out on behalf of the citizens of Douglas County. Disclosing a sexual assault is probably one of the most difficult decisions that a survivor can make, because once they come forward, they are put into this process, and it can be grueling, I'm not gonna lie. But what we can do is we can assure that we will give them the support, the resources, and stand with them as they go through this process. And when you talk about somebody who perhaps was victimized decades ago, who tries to bury it, who tries to not think about it, it can be very traumatizing for these things to come back up. So it can be a very difficult time, but what we have seen is that our victims that are able to come forward, because it is an ability to be able to disclose these really difficult, horrible things that have happened, we assure them that we will not leave their side. All right, thank you all very much.
All right, that is it for that. 1 second. So those are the cases in Douglas County. Tomorrow, I will be in Fulton County with a case where Mr. Steele has, and I am going to tell you a little bit about that case. Just 1 second. Okay, this is the case that Mr. Steele is covering.
On 11 Alive, South Fulton police say 3 people led a woman to her death, and one of the suspects, her ex-boyfriend. This all happened at the Camelot condominiums near Interstate 85 in Flat Shoals Road. In an 11 Alive exclusive, South Fulton's police chief tells us Colvin Lindsay told his ex-girlfriend, Deja McCrary, to meet him there. McCrary had allegedly agreed to fight Tiandra Brooks, Lindsay's current girlfriend, but instead, McCrary ended up getting shot and killed. Lindsay, Brooks, and a third suspect, Aquala Barnes, are all now charged in the case. New tonight, a teenager is out of the hospital and facing charges. Police say he shot a canine officer several times. It happened less than a month ago in Lawrenceville. We're told one officer then fired back. The teen was taken to the hospital in critical condition. He's now being held without bond, facing a list of charges, including aggravated assault against law enforcement. Plus, parole denied for one man convicted in connection to the death of a South Georgia teacher and beauty queen. Just last month, a jury found Ryan Duke guilty of concealing the death of Tara Grinstead, who disappeared back in 2005. A judge sentenced Duke to 10 years in prison. He's already served 5 of those years, so this new ruling means he will serve the remainder of his sentence.
Mother, how have you been?
Oh my God, these ads, man, get on my nerve.
Come back.
Okay, we gotta take this out. Hold on a second. I gotta go back. But Mr. Steele's client is Tandra Chanel Brooks. That is Mr. Steele's client. Hold on a second. She's charged with unaliving the ex-girlfriend of unaliving McCrae's. Just a second. I gotta bring it up to y'all. That is the case that Mr. Steele has. Okay. One second. Trying to pull it up for you guys. It says 3 people have been charged with the murder and aggravated assault after police said they ambushed and unalived a Georgia woman they lured into a fight with the ex-boyfriend, current girlfriend. Dejanay McCrae arrived at the Camelot condominium in South Fulton on May 25th with her 4-year-old son in the car. South Fulton police said that his ex-boyfriend, Colvin Lindsay, set up the situation for McCrae to fight Brooks. Another suspect, Aquila Barnes, told police she texted McCrae with the location to fight. When she showed up, she was shot and killed. WPIX didn't say if the police knew who the trigger person was, but Lindsay also was charged with possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. And Mr. Steele is representing Brooks. One second. And this happened on June 2022. So she's been sitting in jail. without bond since then. I'll show you what she looked like. The young lady was 25 years old. The one that was no, it happened on the 25th of May, but the others were arrested June 1st. And her trial is supposed to start real soon. All right, I'm going to show you this one. Someone's playing that. Hold on a second.
Allegedly had his girlfriend lure his ex into a fight so that he can ambush and kill her. Hi, I'm Lady T, and welcome back to my channel. A Georgia man and two women are behind bars after allegedly lured his ex-girlfriend to an apartment complex in Atlanta, where they ambush and kill her. Corvin Lindsay, Tiandra Bronx, and Aquala Barnes are all facing several felony charges, including murder and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon in the fatal shooting of Deja McCurry. According to reports, Lindsay, McCurry's ex-boyfriend, last month lured her to the Camelot condominiums located at the 5600 block of Old National Highway to fight Bronx, who is Lindsay's current girlfriend. What actually waited for McCurry was a fatal ambush. McCurry drove to the apartment complex with her 4-year-old son in the car, expected to meet Bronx. However, when she arrived at the location, she was shot and killed. Her 4-year-old son was with her when she was killed, and he sustained only minor scratches due to the incident. The third suspect in McCurry's murder, Bonds, allegedly acted in accordance with Lindsay and Bronx's scheme by texting McCurry and telling her where she should go to meet Bronx. Bonds was the first person taken into custody for McCurry's killing. She was arrested by officers with the South Fulton County Police Department on May the 26th. Officers arrested Lindsay on May the 30th before nabbing Bronx one day later on June the 1st. Authorities did not say which of the three suspects is alleged to have fired the bullet that killed McCurry. In addition to the murder and aggravated assault charges, each of the three are also facing several counts of being unlawfully associated with a criminal street gang to engage in criminal activity. Lindsay faces an additional count of possessing a firearm during the commission of a felony. All three are being held in the Fulton County Jail.
No bond, y'all. No bond. No bond. No bond. So they've been there for 3 years. Allegedly. Held with no bond. All right. I wanted to bring to you guys attention. Let's see. Oh, let's see. Is Cardi B's thing still showing? Let me go do that one. Let's see. Cardi's thing is still. Let's see if Cardi's It should be deliberating, right? Let's see. Did they go up yet?
Ellis's mother testified that she saw changes in her daughter after this incident. Same with Miss Ellis's grandmother, Diane Schmidt. She also testified that she recalled seeing the scar after this incident, and that she noticed a marked difference in Miss Ellis after the incident. That's her granddaughter. The defense put on a Dr. Rosenberg, who was a hired gun, received $40,000 for this case and makes millions of dollars in this type of work.
What's that got to do
He
with it?
criticized the Kaiser Hospital for not writing down that Miss Ellis had emotional injuries when when Miss Ellis went to Kaiser Permanente for vaginal discharge in 2022. Dr. Rosenberg testified that there was an inconsistency when Miss Ellis went to Kaiser and didn't tell them about her emotional injuries. Why I'm bringing this up is very simple. When someone goes to an orthopedic surgeon, they don't talk about dental injuries. When someone goes to a gynecologist, they don't talk about emotional injuries. What really happens is when someone goes to a psychologist or psychiatrist, they tell them about their emotional injuries. When someone goes to a dentist, they tell them about their broken teeth. When someone goes to an orthopedic surgeon, they tell them about their neck pain, their back pain, their left foot pain, left ankle pain. This idea that every time you go to a doctor, no matter what specialty, you have to cover all these things is not real. It's not real life. Some of the doctors will even say, don't tell me, I don't want to know. I'm not writing it down. Yes, sir. We've all gone to doctors, and we all know when we go to a specialist, we'll focus on why we're there. Miss Ellis went to Kaiser Permanente Hospital for vaginal discharge in 2022 and different things throughout her time there. She didn't go there for emotional injuries. She didn't go to the psychiatric care there. She didn't get any psychological care there. None of that. So for Dr. Rosenberg to sit there and tell us there's inconsistencies because in Kaiser, she didn't tell him about the emotional injuries, it just doesn't make sense. I want to talk a little bit more about Miss Malcolm. So I just want to remind you that when Miss Malcolm came out, 40 to 50 seconds had already transpired. She came to the aftermath. I know I've already said that, but I really want to hammer this home, that she is not a witness to what happened before. It's like a car accident. There's two cars, they have an accident. If a third car comes down the road a minute later and hits them, it's completely different. It has nothing to do with it. So that was inserted into this case to, in a sense, to muddy the waters, to kind of cloud what really happened. What really happened here in this case is Miss Ellis was working as a security guard. She had to be there. She was working there as a security guard. And Cardi B came along and thought she's above the law. She could do and say whatever she wants and attack Miss Ellis emotionally, physically, and do whatever she wants in a building which is inappropriate. We all know that when we go to a building, we got to be respectful, especially to security guards that are working there. These are not just doormen or doorwomen opening the door for you. You have to follow along with what they say. Next, we heard from Dr. Finke. I want to talk about inconsistencies. There was an inconsistency between Malcolm and Finke. Malcolm said, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, I am going to end this live. And I have some other things that I need to do with the other channel. So I am going to end this live because this live is not supposed to be part of this part of Cardi B's thing. I was just trying to bring it to you guys, but I need to go ahead on and do the other live. All right. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for watching the infamous Sylvia channel, where laughter and fun make up our panel. Together we build this digital spree. We appreciate you and our growing family. With mods by our side and chat flowing free in this online space. It's just you and me, we laugh until tears roll down like the rain. In this virtual world, you ease all my pains. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We cherish the moments, the highs and lows, from the latest gossip to stories untold. You're more than a viewer, you're part of the crew in this space of ours. It's all because of you. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is real in this virtual domain. With every sign and joys we'll both gain. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is real in this virtual domain. With every sign and joys what we'll gain. We're a family, not just a show. Every click